going on out there? Looking at the close today on Friday, I got about 8 minutes. I'm looking at this MFT. I've been mentioning this for a few. It looks like it's on the weekly, it's coming out of the oversold. It's got that nice J curve coming across the 8 and the 13. It's picked up the pace at 12%, 250% over the average volume. And I kind of like it for that daily pop. If it can get above, what's that, 95. You can see the bump into resistance, back into support, and then the double back. The kind of like the 1-2 punch. So I'm looking for a momentum push across. Let's see what happens. It looks like SUB picked up the pace, more of on an intraday push, popped, came back in, and now it's the continuation, the 1-2 punch again. Looks like we got a sell-off on Bitcoin at the end of the day here. It's got some support, so it kind of skirted down here. I got the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. Maybe this is the sling back. So I'm looking at the top of the head there at 34.20. Let's see if it'll come down and smack it. Could be nice. Theta looks good on the close. Theta for a weekly break. Watch that. It's got some volume there. Nice daily push. It had that accumulation pattern, came through, came under, and now the push through. It's got nice OBV, on balance volume. I'm looking for a nice weekly push here. Let's see here. Where's my cursor? MFT hot. DLT. Oh, all of a sudden I got no internet. Stalling out here. What's going on here? Technical difficulties. Looks like my cursor's going out. I'll have to live here. DLT, it's got some work to do on the daily, so keep an eye on that. Link looked good. Looks like it had a bearish retrace, double top style. Bearish retrace into resistance. It's got to make a pattern and maybe pop above, otherwise it's going to flop over. I got a tall 2 wicks tweezer top closing. If it doesn't pull across by tomorrow, it looks like a double top. Pretty good run for Link though. PHX, it's got that nice J curve again, just like MFT. TNT still trying to work that weekly, coming across the 34 here. KMD, let's see how that did. 3%, still working. That weekly chart's very highly pinched. Very pinched up. Looks like it made a run overnight and came back into support here. It's got to hold and push on. EDO. Looks like a retrace on the weekly. TRX. LTC, we were talking about that yesterday, how tightly pinched that weekly chart was. Looks good. I really like this MFT. Let's see how this closes. About 2 minutes. Then we'll look at Bitcoin. Let me see if I can get a new battery. There we go. So it looks like we got a new candle on the daily. Let's see what happens with Bitcoin. Let's take a longer look. That weekly chart on Bitcoin is getting tighter and tighter. Bitcoin on the close below the 34 on the intraday, so it's got a double top, so maybe it's going to come down. If this is a bearish retrace, remember it crosses over the 34 and then comes back in. That's a bearish retrace. So what it's got to do, if it's not a bearish retrace and it's bullish and it's just a whipsaw, then it'll have to punch across, but closing below the 34 on the close. So maybe it needs to come down, gather its legs, and try again. Like I said earlier, maybe a pullback into the head of the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder coming down, slinging. See what happens. Anyways, the weekly needs to get over that 8 to get things pumping. Start building long-term support. It's not even above the 8 yet, so there's what I'm saying is there's no support down here. But the pattern's coming in. Looks like it's forming, trying to find that bottom. So that's why I'm here. I think it's looking pretty good. And the daily, of course, on Bitcoin. Daily's got to get above that 8 as well. We had that nice run across the 34, or across the 8 into the 34. We had that falling star at the bottom, 2-bar reversal into resistance again, rejected, and here we go, building consolidation. If we can really get pumping, I think it'll be a good good start to a change in trend on the long-term charts. But it looks like a bearish retrace, so it looks like it's opening down on the open. A lot of things got knocked back. Daily had a push across and then the stair step into support. Looks like a hammer closed yesterday. QPS, QLC, looking weak. Everything retraced the past couple days. Oh look, Steam opened up. Been waiting for this thing to turn around. Trying to do some accumulation on my Steemit account. It's got a nice J curve. Look at that J curve forming on the daily. So maybe it's not ready yet, but it's coming across on the intraday. But I keep a watch on it. Steemit does pretty good, I think, as a product, as a social media. I don't have any complaints. It's there's a learning curve to figure it out, I think, because I'm not that smart when it comes to figuring it out, but I guess it's not that complicated. You just gotta make posts, make people like it, re-steam it. Same as any social media, but it's got Steam dollars and then Steam coin. One's tradable, one's sellable. And little tricks of the trade to find people to follow and comment, earn some money that way. Trying to figure out the bot part, if anybody wants to leave a comment. Looks like we got a nice little bounce on Bitcoin so far. It needs to get 50% of the previous candle, so that's above that red line. DG. Looks like DGD made a push at the end of the day. Little push back in. It's coming across the 34 on the intraday 5-hour chart. Came all the way back into support for the week. You can see that daily pushed below the 34, so let's see if we can find a pattern. It is closing a higher low. So far so good. Systems, SYS. Look at that, the pop, the come back, and then the double back, the 1-2 punch right there. That looks pretty good. Look how tightly wound up the weekly chart is. SYS, that's a good one to watch. up, MFT? Had such a great close, but now you're like, I don't know. What up? I guess it's okay. Opening down at 1% though. Just a small amount of push. Push over 95. Hot cloak. Bitcoin, what are you doing? Feels like Bitcoin's going to be coming back in. Had a nice little push when it was skirting support. Higher lows, crossed over, came back in, and then just on the close, it broke support on that red line. Systems opened up. Pretty nice chart. Left head, right shoulder. That's that little U on the daily. It has a nice little pattern right above the 34. I like that. I don't see anything else. Not right off the bat. Steam. Look at that whipsaw now. Things are getting volatile, I tell you that much. There's nothing slow about all these things. Storm popped its head up. Let's see what's going on there. Look at Storm, the J curve on the weekly. Then an inverted hammer right over the 8 and the 13 into support. Coming out of oversold. Look at the OBV on Storm. That's one of those divergences. Or convergences, excuse me. Convergence, divergence. I'll get it right. These are the OBVs going up and the price is going down. And there's a convergence. APPC pop its head up here. Bitcoin lost its legs at the end of the day, and I think everything just stopped. It was looking good on the close. So, we'll keep going for a few more minutes and see what happens here. I think in the stock market, and the first 15 minutes is the most important. I don't know about what the stats are on the Bitcoin, but watching how they open is important to see how the rest of the day goes. But thinking that way, the stock market only opened, what, 5.5 hours, 6 hours, or whatever it is. This is open all night long. So a little bit different story, but another thing is to figure out when China opens. I think China trades the hell out of it, don't they? This Bitcoin. It's always a 3 a.m. push. APC, that looks pretty good for that. The pump and the step. Slow, methodical stair step into support. Now it's got support. It could fall over, but it has higher lows. It's showing pretty nicely done. Storm looks good on the weekly. LTC looks good on the weekly. Look how tight that is. It's brewing for a previous high break. Look at the break here, and then the step into support. Maybe not ready yet, but I am showing a 2-bar reversal on the close there. It's got to push across though. OBV is not as good as I'd like to see it, but the trigger point is crossed over the line of the OBV. Storm picks up 3% of the average volume so far. Oh yeah, Storm, SYS looks good. LTC looks good. There's always one that comes out of nowhere. I had someone make a comment about hyperwaves, some people doing some chart work. And they're using this Koprek curve. I didn't know what it was. Someone mentioned it. Well, mentioned some people doing some videos. Asked me about my moving averages. And then he mentioned this hyperwave. So I started watching their videos. And it's basically just another indicator. Indicators are price momentum indicators. And this one primarily it looks pretty interesting. I've never used it before, so I have to say that. And I've never heard of it before, so I have to say that. It's recognized as to figure on long-term charts the major bottoms. So it's calculated as a 10-month weighted moving average of the sum of the 14th month rate of change and the 11th month rate of change for the index. So it's an average of rate and change over a 10-month weighted moving average. It is also known as the Koperek guide. The Koperek formula was introduced in Barron's in 1962. So I've probably run across it, but I've never used it. Just like Medved Trader knows his shit. Let's pull up. I don't see any. I'll just leave LTC here because it looks like it wants to pop. So I'm unusual, so I wouldn't use the standard, but I'm just gonna leave it. I always play with it and find my own Fibonacci numbers to put in there. That's just me. So I'll just leave it as a standard there. And you can see here when it crosses over 0 on the long-term chart, that's when the signal is. Its long-term signal is crossing above the 0. So just like the oversold, crossing over. So I got a little lead here. And then I got a cross on the OBV. And I got a cross of the 8. So in my opinion, my leading indicators are getting better signals. Now, not to say that this is useless though, because it is moving across the 0. And it could be something that you can use to justify a long-term chart swing. And I believe, if I remember correctly, it's used for long-term charts. But momentum is used on time frames. So if you want to know the long-term chart trend, you want to find that crossing above the 0. And it was funny too, because the guy was using the 30 moving average with I think the 7 and the 10. So he's using basically the same setup. I'm just using Fibonacci numbers with the what you can call it. The variable is the golden ratio, 0.0618 or 0.618 is my variable with the T3s. So the T3s are just moving averages, exponential moving averages with the variable 0.618. And then I have the simple moving average as my center. So it's kind of similar. I was kind of weirded out, but anyways. Technical analysis, I think if you've been following me long enough, there's a lot of people that do it a lot of different ways, and we all come to the same conclusions. So it's just a matter of perspective. A lot of different ways to look at it. But very interesting. I'm glad the comment came through. Appreciate it. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and post. going to go ahead and paste this into my and this is what just the Discord's for, to go over things like this. So if anybody wants to join in the Discord, you can use that that link to join if you're watching. It's kind of hard to get it all out there. I got only so much time in the day, so if you want it, just ask. I think we got a half dozen people, 8 or 10 people in there already. Okay, systems. Systems looks better and better by the second. Storm fell back just a tiny. It's still up there. Looking at Storm, doesn't look ready across. Looks like LTC is doing a good job on that. Let's see, let's check the SYS coming across the zero here shortly. It's not ready yet, it looks like. Thing is about indicators is I can change these numbers and make it go across that zero, so I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see where Steam is on the long-term chart. Oh, it's almost ready over here. Looks like it's far and away from doing anything up here. Let's look at that MFT, see where that's at. MFT's not ready yet either. Damn. Let's see. Dent looks ready. Look at that. It's almost there. Just going over this Coprec. So let's change this to my Fibonacci numbers. Oops. DGD, it's getting close. What if I change that to something like oh, I see. Based on close, let's do based on, let's do high low divided by 2. Let's keep that going. Storm fell back. All right, so I'm going to keep that Coprec. I'm gonna experiment No doubt. There's so many different indicators out there. If it was me, I would use the candles, and I was taught by a guy that can just trade straight off of candles, and told the story. And I remember him trading the 1 minute chart on some fast moving stuff, and just really taming the thing, man. It's like the Grandmaster Chef. I like it. Let's see what happens. Let's see how it measures out. I'll probably have to change some settings around or something, but cool. We do it. Systems. UPC keeps running it. Dent's really close on that indicator there. Look at XCM almost breaking out, but then got over the zero back in. Got kind of taken back a minute. Got knocked back pretty good. I don't trust it, but it's got some volume on the open there. Could be the bounce play of the century. I don't know. I was hoping for a better open on MFT. I think that's about it for me. Appreciate you guys coming by and taking a look. Bitcoin kind of stalled out. I don't know where it went. But that's it. Let me know what's going on out there. I'll see you. Follow me on Stimit. I'm going to upload this to DLive, so follow me there as well. rustysmetals at Steemit. You can find me from there. You can find my Discord, and you can find BitTube, DLive, and a whole bunch of cryptocurrency uploads after that. So I'll see you all.